Oh my god, no way! It's nearby! We actually found a nearby.
These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of all time. This first speedrun begins, and right away, there's already something incredibly suspicious about a spawn. And take a look and see if you can spot it. Well, in the left corner of the screen at this frame, we can clearly see there's an ocelot, which is a problem, as ocelots can actually only spawn naturally in a jungle biome, when the runner is clearly in a plains biome. So this ocelot spawning here is already incredibly suspicious. Anyway, the speedrun begins and the runner immediately heads towards a nearby village. And while the village itself is completely legit, there's something inside the village that's actually fake. And I'll pause the footage here, so take a look and see if you can spot what I'm talking about. That's right, on the right side of the screen at this frame, you can quite literally see a netherite golem. And not only is this clearly fake, but how did a netherite golem even spawn in vanilla Minecraft? Well, after the runner collects a few beds and crafts some tools, he of course heads towards the netherite golem. And I know what you're expecting. A netherite golem has to drop netherite ingots. But that's not true, because it appears as though the golem actually drops your standard iron ingots. However, later in the speedrun, we're gonna see exactly why these ingots are not normal in the slightest. So, the runner collects a couple extra beds before heading out of the village and searching for a ruined portal. And I guess I can give him some credit, as he does locate one extremely quickly. But just hold on, because there's one specific detail which reveals this entire ruins portal is fake. And see if you can spot what I'm talking about during this part of the speedrun. Did you catch it? Well, if you pause the footage right here, you can quite literally see a giant hole underneath the portal. And because a hole like this clearly doesn't spawn naturally, it actually means that the runner spawned in the ruined portal himself, and while doing so, accidentally generated a giant hole glitch in the ground. But wait, are we sure the runner is the one who spawned this in? Because pause the footage here. You can literally see an ocelot in the right corner of the screen, which is the exact same ocelot that we saw at the very beginning of the speedrun. And while I can't confirm it, I am incredibly suspicious that this ocelot is somehow responsible for spawning in the ruins portal. Keep this in mind for later in the run. Well, apart from the portal itself being fake, everything else is actually pretty normal, as the runner finds completely standard loot in the ruins portal chest, and quickly finishes building the portal and lights it. However, right before the runner is about to enter the nether, let's take a very good look at his inventory, because I want you to remember it. Got it? So, the runner jumps in the portal, spawns in the nether, and immediately starts to search for a nether fortress. And he actually manages to locate one pretty quickly. Hold on a second. Did you just catch how the runner has cheated? Well, remember how I told you to remember the runner's inventory before he entered the portal? Well, the runner jumps in the portal, and when he spawns in the nether, take a look at his inventory now. He suddenly has a fire resistance potion in the 9th slot, something he clearly didn't have before he entered the nether. And because you can't collect items while you're in the middle of a generation screen, it means that the runner cut the footage and actually got this fire resistance potion off camera. But that isn't the only thing the runner was doing while the camera wasn't recording, because when he enters the fortress, take a good look at the ceiling, where you can spot a single line of cracked nether bricks in the roof that the speedrunner clearly follows all the way to a blaze spawner. And it's obvious the runner placed this line of blocks himself to lead him to the blaze spawner, which he also did off camera. But this is the best part, because when the runner makes his way to the blaze spawner and the first blaze spawns in, what? Wait a second, are those gassed blazes? They literally look like a gas that has the body of a blaze. So much cheating just happened in the last 30 seconds, I don't even know what to say. So, the runner starts to fight the gassed Blazes, who of course, drops some sort of white blaze rod, which not only is a very suspicious and clearly not real item, but it also means the runner doesn't have any normal blaze rods. So he now has to find an entirely new fortress. Well, after a bit of searching, the runner does manage to find a normal fortress. But before he starts to fight the Blazes in this one, he decides to place down a crafting table. But hold on, do you remember back near the very beginning of the speedrun when I mentioned how these iron ingots weren't actually normal at all? Well, when the runner hovers over one of the ingots, it's literally called Iron Ingot Plus. And after placing down 2 white blaze rods in the crafting table, he uses 4 upgraded iron ingots to craft the Thunder Sword? Wait a second, is that a real Minecraft item? And this sword literally gives the runner the ability to strike lightning down on command. Okay, there is absolutely no way anything I just saw was real. So, after collecting 7 normal blaze rods with help from the Thunder Sword, the runner's next order of business is locating a bastion. But here's where the speedrun starts to get very weird, because as the runner is in the middle of his search, pause the footage at this frame. We could yet again see the exact same ocelot that's been appearing throughout the speedrun and is now somehow located in the nether. But this time, he does something absolutely insane, because as the runner is casually passing by him, he literally throws him an iron pickaxe. And because it's literally impossible for an ocelot to give any item to a player, what magical powers has this ocelot somehow acquired? Well, the runner finally manages to locate a bastion, and after using the iron pickaxe he just got from the ocelot, he quickly mines gold blocks and turns them into ingots. But am I the only one who notices something incredibly strange about a few piglins in this bastion? Look, if you zoom in to this specific piglin, you can actually spot a blue square on his chest, which is clearly not a texture that any normal piglin would have. And if you play the footage, notice how the runner is only trading with piglins that have this blue square, almost as if the runner has marked out specific piglins he wants to trade with. And when he goes to check his inventory after all of his trades, oh my gosh, the runner gets some of the best piglin trades in Minecraft, including 2 stacks of ender pearls, a bunch of fire resistance, and 20 pieces of obsidian, which leads me to believe the runner somehow marked out specific piglins that he knew would give him amazing trades. And I'm sorry, but I don't know how in the world the runner managed to code that into the game files. Well, with more than enough loot from the piglins, a normal speedrunner would clearly build another portal and head into the overworld. But this speedrunner has a slightly different idea, because he starts to run in a very specific direction until he reaches this giant lava pool, where for some reason, he decides to build his nether portal in the direct center of it. What? How in the world could this possibly help the runner? Well, the runner pulls out his flint and steel and lights the lava pool portal and prepares to spawn into the overworld. And when he finally does, oh my gosh, the runner finds himself in the middle of a lava pool in the overworld that literally has a parkour course that leads him straight to a fully lit end portal. And not only does this explain why he built a nether portal in this specific location, but take a look back at the end portal. The strange ocelot that we've seen throughout the run is there waiting for him, which makes me think he is somehow the one who built this end portal parkour. Well, the runner of course starts to do the parkour, where I can give him credit, as he actually completes some pretty difficult jumps. But when the runner reaches the very end of this course, that is when things get crazy, because this ocelot literally transforms into Dream? Wait, what? The Ocelot was Dream in disguise the entire time? Well, being that the runner now has Dream at his side, he quickly jumps in the end's portal and makes his way to the surface of the end. And while the runner is busy breaking the crystals, Dream is clearly doing his part by shooting arrows at the dragon. But I think Dream might have gotten tired of fighting the dragon normally, because you could literally see him place down a commands block, which is an item that can't even be obtained in survival Minecraft. And suddenly, a message in the bottom left corner appears, claiming that the Ender Dragon has been killed. And the runner starts to look around in the end, where he can't find the Ender Dragon anywhere, meaning whatever Dream put in the commands block must have actually worked. And they both jump in the portal and complete the speedrun. This next speedrun begins, and what? The runner spawns next to a desert temple that is somehow located in a plains biome, which last time I checked is impossible, as desert pyramids only spawn naturally inside desert biomes. But let's give the runner the benefit of the doubt, as this could simply be a generation glitch. And the rest of the spawn is completely normal as well, with the runner facing perfectly straight and selecting the first slot in his inventory. But something incredibly weird happens as the runner is making his way towards the pyramid, because in the bottom left corner of the screen, it appears as though the runner collects the Acquire Hardware achievement, which on the surface may seem completely normal. Here's the problem. The Acquire Hardware achievement is gotten when a player collects an iron ingot in their inventory, which as we can see, the speedrunner clearly did not do, meaning this achievement has to be coming from an entirely different player, and keep that fact in mind for later in the speedrun. So, the runner enters the very suspicious desert pyramid, where things are already very weird, because the runner finds a chest in the left corner of the pyramid, which is an area that never spawns with a chest in vanilla Minecraft. So you're probably expecting this fake chest to have a bunch of overpowered loot. Well, when the runner opens it, it actually doesn't have a single good item, and is actually a pretty terrible chest. But why would the runner add a fake chest in the speedrun if it didn't even have good items? Well, did you catch what happened while the runner was looting this chest? Because in the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see that another achievement has been claimed. This time, the Ice Bucket Challenge achievement, which occurs when a player obtains a block of obsidian. And this leads me to believe that this fake chest is actually one giant distraction for another mystery player off camera to be building something with obsidian. And this will make a lot more sense very soon. So, the runner digs down in the pyramid and loots all 4 of the main chests before quickly building back out and heading towards a nearby village. And while the village itself is completely normal, what the runner finds inside is a completely different story. And just take a look. What? The runner finds one of the funniest looking ruins portals that I've ever seen. It's so incredibly obvious that this didn't spawn naturally. I mean, look, instead of blocks of netherrack, it's literally built out of red wool. So how in the world did this ruined portal spawn so weirdly? Well, if you skip ahead just a few seconds in the speedrun, we actually get the answer to that question. Because in the left corner of the village, you can literally spot another player who is holding both obsidian and red wool in their hands. And I think it's pretty obvious this player is the one who just got the achievement, as he was collecting obsidian to build the ruins portal. Well, the runner ignores the portal at first, and instead collects some beds, gathers some hay, and goes to loot this village chest. But watch very closely to what happens as the runner is opening the chest. Did you see it? If you replay the footage in extreme slow motion, this chest somehow turns from normal to trapped, as you can just barely see from the red outline around the lock. But how is that possible? There are clearly no cuts in the recording. Well, the runner accidentally reveals the cheat a few moments later, because when he looks up, you can literally see another player hiding in the very top portion of the house, and he's holding a trapped chest in their hand. meaning he somehow managed to switch this chest out with a trap chest just moments before the runner opened it. And he also somehow added a ton of overpowered items inside, because the runner finds obsidian blocks, fire resistance, and a bunch of golden apples. All items that will be extremely valuable for the nether. So, after looting the very sneaky trap chest, the runner then makes his way to the quote-unquote ruined portal. But for some reason, the runner decides to completely ignore the portal itself, and instead starts to break the ruined portal chest. But why in the world would the runner be doing this? Well, just a few seconds later, oh my gosh. This ruined portal chest has a secret ladder underneath it that somehow takes the runner directly into the nether? Wait a second, we didn't see the runner go through a single nether portal. How in the world did he manage to switch dimensions? I have so many questions. Well, the runner somehow takes a ladder straight into the nether, where he almost immediately locates a fortress. And after drinking a potion of fire resistance that he got from the fake trap chest, he's ready to fight blazes without taking any damage. But there's something very weird about these blazes that you probably haven't noticed. And that's the fact that despite the runner attacking them, they seem to be stuck in place. Watch. Every single blaze that the runner fights doesn't fly, move, or turn a single time. And because real Minecraft blazes will always fly around and move, it actually means that the runner has manually spawned them into the world. But when did he do that? I haven't seen him pull out a single blaze spawner egg all speedrun. Well, take a good look at his inventory during this part of the speedrun, where he accidentally hovers over this wooden pickaxe in his inventory. And when he does, he literally reveals it's called the Blaze Summoner, meaning while we weren't looking, the runner used this Blaze Summoner to manually spawn in blazes so they wouldn't move and he could attack them without taking any damage. So, after killing Minecraft blazes that are literally stuck in place, the runner easily collects 7 blaze rods, where he starts to look for a bastion. But as the runner is searching throughout the nether, he comes across something insane. Is that a pink sheep in the nether? Okay, hold on a second. This is absolutely insane. To start, it's not even possible for any type of sheep to spawn naturally in the nether, meaning the only possible way he's here is if the sheep accidentally walk through a portal on his own. But secondly, the runner finds a pink sheep, which is a special variant of sheep that literally has a 0.1% chance of spawning. So it's clear this is incredibly rare. But wait a second. Don't let the pink sheep distract you from the fact that this speedrunner is still a cheater. Because while he's pretending to be mesmerized by one of the rarest mobs in the game, he actually starts to cheat. Because watch his inventory closely during this clip. Did you catch that? He suddenly acquires a full stack of gold ingots in his 9th slot. And not only is this incredibly important, as the runner has no iron pickaxe and therefore can't collect gold in the bastion, but I think this actually reveals the super rare pink sheep was actually meant as one giant distraction. Because in the very top left corner of the screen, you can see the exact same player who we caught earlier in the speedrun, who's holding both a sheep spawn egg and pink dye in their hands, which are clearly the items he used to generate this crazy sheep. I've caught them cheating yet again. So, the runner eventually locates a bastion, and with a full stack of ingots in his inventory, he doesn't have to worry about collecting gold blocks, and immediately starts to trade with piglins. But am I the only one who caught how the runner has cheated yet again? Here, I'll replay the clip, and see if you can spot what I'm talking about. Well, as the runner is literally throwing a ton of gold at the piglins, look at his inventory. Somehow, the amount of gold that he has literally stays at a full stack. So how the runner is throwing gold ingots without losing any from his inventory is absolutely insane. Well, with what appears to be an unlimited supply of gold ingots. The runner is obviously collecting a ton of items from the piglins. But despite his large amount of trades, he doesn't get a large amount of crucial items, because he's only got 4 ender pearls and 2 pieces of obsidian, both items being fewer than you need to continue the run. Well, that's when the runner decides to place down a crafting table, likely to craft some fresh gold armor. But when he opens it... Wait, what? He somehow opens a chest that contains a full stack of pearls and 20 blocks of obsidian. Okay, first off, how did he just open a chest? He clearly just clicked on a crafting table. But secondly, this magical chest has more than enough ender pearls and obsidian to continue with the run, meaning he doesn't have to make a single other trade with the piglins. Was a crafting table chest an item that was added in the new update? Well, the runner quickly builds another portal and makes his way into the overworlds. But after he crafts his Eyes of Ender, he starts to act incredibly strange. Because instead of throwing his Eyes of Ender like a real speedrunner would, he instead starts to move in a very strange way. Look, he seems to literally be moving in random directions without a single idea on where he's actually going. So it's incredibly weird that when he stops at this very block, he seems to think the stronghold is located under it. Okay, why is he wasting his time? It's literally impossible that his random movements actually located a stronghold. What? The runner digs down straight into the strongholds and actually gets the achievement for entering into it. But hold on a second. How is this possible? We literally just saw the runner moving in completely random directions, and he didn't use a single Eye of Ender. Well, let's pause the footage at this exact frame, and I'll give you a few seconds to see if you can spot what's suspicious. That's right. On this part of the screen, you can actually see a chainmail hat floating in the air. And because it's obvious armor can't just float in vanilla Minecraft, it means that this chainmail hat is actually on the runner's friend while he's actively using a potion of invisibility. So, fast forward to when the runner locates the area of the stronghold and pause again. Because look, you can see this exact same chainmail hat once again, directly next to where the runner digs down. If you can't tell, the speedrunner's friend was clearly directing the runner straight to the location of the strongholds while he was using an invisibility potion to try to hide what he was doing. But he accidentally wore a single piece of armor, which reveals the entire thing was fake. So, the runner drops down into the strongholds, where he starts to search for the End's portal room. And when he finally locates it, things appear to be completely normal on the surface, as the portal spawns with 2 eyes, which is very normal, and the silverfish spawner is also there. However, despite the runner collecting an entire stack of ender pearls from the bastion, he somehow only has 8 Eyes of Ender in his inventory, meaning he actually doesn't have enough to complete the End's portal. So how is the runner supposed to travel to the end? Well, that's when the runner decides to block off the pool of lava under the portal and starts to dig down in the direct center. And just a few seconds later, what? The runner falls directly into a second end portal room, which this time has 4 Eyes of Ender in the portal, meaning the runner has the perfect amount to light the portal. And get this, it is literally impossible for 2 strongholds to spawn this close to each other, so I have no idea how the runner just pulled that off. Well, the runner drops down into the second end portal room, lights the portal using his Eyes of Ender, and jumps into the end. But this is when things start to get downright hilarious, because on the surface, everything looks normal. The Ender Dragon has a full bar of health, the runner's inventory is completely normal, and every single end crystal is still intact. But as the speedrunner is casually running on the surface, let's take a look at the Ender Dragon. It literally starts to fly off the map and off into the distance. And what in the world is going on? A real Minecraft Ender Dragon will always stay within the end. So why is this Ender Dragon literally flying off the map? And then, after the dragon has flown so far away that we can't even see him, his health bar suddenly drops to 0, and the Ends portal frame literally lights on its own, meaning the Ender Dragon somehow flew so far away that he actually died. And the run just ends there. This next speedrun begins, and honestly, everything seems legit at a first glance. World generation, check. Survival mode, check. The runner facing perfectly straight, also a check. But things already start to get suspicious when the runner locates a nearby village. Because I'll pause the footage here and see if you can spot the one detail which proves the runner has cheated. Well, if you zoom in to the left corner of the village, you'll actually notice that the village fountain has no water. And because it's impossible for a village fountain to spawn without water, the only possible explanation is that the runner accidentally removed it himself. And this leads me to believe that the runner was on the worlds before he started recording, which will become a lot more clear later in the run. So, the runner heads inside the village, where he quickly kills the iron golem and collects some beds to use later. But watch very closely to what happens as the runner is gathering hay. Did you see that? In the top right corner of the screen, you can literally see a second iron golem spawn out of thin air. And because a village of this size can only spawn with one golem, and the runner already killed that one golem a few moments ago, I have absolutely no idea how a second one just spawned. Well, after he's done gathering hay and crafting some bread, he of course heads towards the second iron golem. And while the golem itself is normal, the speedrunner accidentally reveals the way it spawned there. Because in the left corner of the screen, you can literally see another player, whose name is literally Iron Golem Ian, which clearly means this other player is the one who spawned in the second iron golem, also that the runner could collect more iron and gain an advantage. Well, with a second iron golem and therefore a bunch of extra iron, the runner can craft both a bucket and iron pickaxe before he starts searching for a lava pool. And the runner does find a lava pool pretty quickly, but there's something incredibly suspicious about it. Because just look, you'll actually notice that the border of the lava pool is made out of cobblestone, which is something that's impossible, as cobblestone can't spawn naturally in this part of the terrain. So how in the world did it get here? Well, if you rewind back to when we noticed Iron Golem Ian in the speedrun, let's see what he grabs after the runner kills the golem. Where if you zoom in to the bottom left corner, you can clearly see he's holding cobblestone blocks. Meaning while we weren't looking, Iron Golem Ian literally built this lava pool on his own to help the speedrunner gain an advantage. This guy needs to do a better job at hiding his cheating. So, the runner makes his way to the lava pool, where he quickly forms a nether portal and lights it. But right before the runner is about to enter the nether, let's take a look at the chat, where we can clearly see the message that Iron Golem Ian has left the world, meaning the runner is now on his own for the rest of the speedrun. But don't worry, this isn't gonna stop him from cheating in even more hilarious ways. So, the runner spawns into the nether, where I can give him credit for getting the achievement. But instead of searching for a bastion or fortress like a real speedrunner would, this player instead decides to place down a crafting table, where he starts to craft something that looks absolutely hilarious. A carved pumpkin in the middle with 4 pieces of coal at the edges. What in the world could this possibly craft? Oh my gosh. The speedrunner crafts some sort of jack-o'-lantern car, and once the runner hops on top of it, it somehow starts to move on its own. Okay, first off, was the jack-o'-lantern car a vehicle added in the newest Minecraft update? But secondly, after less than 30 seconds on this vehicle, the jack-o'-lantern car drops the runner off directly in front of a bastion. I'm not gonna lie, that was insane. Well, the runner finds himself directly in front of a bastion, where he quickly heads inside and starts to collect gold blocks. But this speedrunner decides he's not going to trade with a single piglin, which is very weird. as a normal Minecraft player will always trade with piglins, as they give valuable items for speedrunning. But instead, this speedrunner decides to start throwing his gold into lava? Okay, I'm sorry, but what strategy could this speedrunner possibly be using? Throwing gold into lava just means it's going to burn. Well, after the runner has thrown a ton of gold in the lava, he then decides to drink a single potion of fire resistance before literally jumping into the lava pool. And just moments later, oh my gosh, the runner falls straight down into a secret piglin trading room that not only has a bunch of personal piglins for the speedrunner, but these piglins have already started to make trades, and the runner collects some absolutely insane items, including a full stack of ender pearls and more than enough obsidian to build a nether portal, which means the runner wasn't actually throwing his gold into lava, but instead throwing it through the lava and into this secret hole so that the piglins could collect it. But because gold literally burns upon impact with any form of lava, I have absolutely no idea how the runner pulled this off. So, the runner collects all of his loot from the piglins in the secret trading room, where he quickly leaves the bastion and starts to search for a fortress. And while he does locate one pretty quickly, he still has a bit of a problem, as this fortress is located on the opposite side of a giant lava pool. And because the runner barely has any blocks in their inventory, how in the world is he supposed to get here? Well, the runner decides to place down a single crafting table, where he decides to craft an umbrella? Okay, wait a second. Is an umbrella even a real Minecraft item? This speedrunner has crafted some of the craziest things. Well, the runner quickly grabs the umbrella from the crafting table and equips it, where he starts to walk directly on the lava without taking a single lick of damage? Wait a second, how is this possible? He isn't even using fire resistance at all. And after walking on lava for a few more moments, the runner is able to dig up all the way into the fortress. And when he opens his inventory and hovers over the umbrella he was using, he reveals it was called the magical fire umbrella, meaning this umbrella the runner crafted literally gave him the ability to walk on lava. This speedrun is starting to get insane. So, the runner finds himself in a fortress where he does actually get the achievement for entering it. And like any normal speedrunner, he quickly locates a blaze spawner and starts to fight the blazes. But there's one thing that's incredibly strange about these blazes that I'm not sure you've noticed. So I'll give you a quick second to see if you can spot it. Well, if you zoom in on their faces, you'll actually notice that they have red eyes, which is very weird, as a normal Minecraft blaze always has brown eyes. Well, when the runner kills his first blaze with these strange eyes and sees what he drops, oh my gosh. This blaze drops a red and very scary looking blaze rod, which is definitely an item that wasn't added in the latest update. Well, despite these blazes dropping some very strange looking blaze rods, that doesn't seem to bother the runner one bit, as he collects 7 of them without hesitation and immediately leaves the fortress. But without normal blaze rods, how in the world is the runner supposed to make blaze powder, which is a crucial item in crafting Eyes of Ender? Well, right before the runner is about to build a nether portal and head into the overworld, he places down a crafting table, where he combines 7 of the red blaze rods with 7 gold ingots, which somehow creates normal blaze rods. And if someone can explain whether or not this is a real crafting recipe, that would be very helpful. So, with standard blaze rods and enough ender pearls, the runner quickly builds another portal and heads into the overworld, where a normal speedrunner would then begin searching for a stronghold. However, despite the runner just collecting normal blaze rods and having a bunch of pearls, he doesn't seem to want any Eyes of Ender, and instead decides to start climbing up this giant mountain, which is very weird, as strongholds essentially only spawn underground, meaning climbing up a mountain would be a huge waste of time. Well, the runner insists on doing this and makes it to the peak, where he starts to act very strange, because the runner stands extremely close to the edge while he has a water bucket in his inventory. Okay, hold on a second. Is this speedrunner about to water bucket clutch? Why in the world would he do this? That serves no purpose. Well, all of a sudden, oh my gosh, the speedrunner jumps off the cliff. But wait a second, he's not even selecting his water bucket. He's going to die to fall damage. Oh my gosh. All of a sudden, the speedrunner whips out a glider and literally starts to glide straight into this giant ravine. And first off, since when was a glider added to Minecraft? Was it somehow included in the newest update? But secondly, the runner is clearly looking for something specific in this giant ravine, because after flying in it for just a few seconds, oh my gosh, the runner manages to find an exposed stronghold in the ravine, meaning despite him not crafting a single Eye of Ender, he's going to be able to locate the End's portal. And while that was insane, I'm still confused on whether or not a glider is a real Minecraft item. So, the runner flies towards the stronghold, where he immediately locates the End's portal room. But right before the runner is about to light the portal, did you just see how he cheated? Here, I'll replay the footage in slow motion. Did you catch that? Well, right before the runner is about to place eyes in the portal, take a good look at his hotbar, where he somehow gains 4 armor points out of nowhere, which is very strange, considering we clearly haven't seen him put on a single piece of armor. So how in the world did he just randomly gain 4 armor points? Well, after the runner lights the portal and is about to enter the End, he accidentally goes into F5 mode, where we can literally see that the runner has custom wings on him. Wait, what? There is absolutely no way this is a real Minecraft item. But either way, it's clearly how the runner was randomly able to get these 4 armor points. Well, after finding out about his custom wings, the runner finally jumps into the End, where these wings give him the ability to fly while he's still in survival mode, which not only makes it incredibly easy for the runner to break every single crystal, but he can literally fly directly towards the dragon and start attacking it. And while the runner is still in midair, he actually manages to kill the dragon. That was insane. This next speedrun begins with the runner spawning directly next to a woodland mansion. And while spawning next to the structure is incredibly rare, it's technically not impossible, so we'll let it slide. And the runner quickly heads towards the structure to begin the speedrun. But things start getting suspicious when the runner opens this mansion chest, because while the loot may look completely ordinary and not fake in the slightest, it's actually impossible for any items to spawn naturally in a woodland mansion storage room, meaning the runner placed these himself off camera. And make sure to remember these 2 specific items: the brown candle and the piece of redstone dust, as these 2 items will become extremely important for later in the speedrun. So, after the runner finishes looting the rest of the mansion, he moves on and quickly locates a desert pyramid. And don't worry, nothing about the pyramid itself is fake at all, but instead, let's turn our focus towards this singular cactus block on the left side of the screen, because while it may look normal on the surface, just watch this. What? After the runner turns around for half a second, this cactus has suddenly turned into an actual Minecraft mob that not only can move around, but is holding some sort of weapon in their hands. Wait a second, was a cactus mob a new type of mob added in the latest update? And after the runner whips out his axe and starts to kill this crazy mob, it actually drops some insane loot, including both obsidian blocks and fire resistance, which are crucial items for the nether. But can anyone explain how in the world this block just turned into a mob? Well, The runner quickly collects his loot and enters the desert pyramid, where things don't get any more legit. Because instead of finding a pressure plate on the floor like in a real desert pyramid, the runner literally finds an ender chest, which was not only clearly placed by him before he started recording, but also ensures he doesn't accidentally light off the TNT. Well, after the runner gathers the loot from the 4 normal chests, he then goes to open the singular ender chest. But watch closely to what happens as the runner opens this chest. Did you see it? Well, if you play the footage in slow motion, you'll actually notice this chest is completely empty when the runner opens it. But just a few frames later, all of the items have magically appeared in the chest. So is this just a glitch? Or did the speedrunner just cheat? Well, it's important to note that ender chests have one special ability, and that's the fact that every ender chest in a single world are connected, meaning placing items in one ender chest basically places them in all ender chests. So the fact that these items appeared in the chest late leads me to believe there is another player off camera who also has access to an ender chest. And because all ender chests are connected, him placing items in a different ender chest would also place it in this ender chest. But because this other player did it just a few seconds late, I think he accidentally revealed he cheated. And while this technically isn't confirmed 100%, make sure you remember my suspicion for later in the run. Well, after collecting all of the loot from both normal and ender chests, the runner quickly leaves the desert pyramid and heads towards a ruined portal. But hold on a second, did you just catch how he cheated once again? Look, as the runner is heading towards the ruins portal, you can literally see that he gains 4 hearts out of thin air. But how in the world is this possible? Well, if you take a good look into the right corner of the screen at this exact frame, you can actually spot a singular Minecraft dropper. And at this exact same moment, you can actually see a tripwire hook and a line of string on the ground, which makes it pretty obvious this tripwire was connected to this dropper, which splashed a potion of healing onto the runner. And the runner found some way to turn off particle effects so we wouldn't notice, and he would have a full set of hearts heading into the nether. But I caught him cheating in 4K. Well, with a full set of hearts and enough obsidian to complete the ruins portal, the runner quickly heads into the nether. And less than 15 seconds after he spawns, the runner gets super lucky and finds a nether fortress right in front of him. Now, while things may have looked normal to your average Minecraft player, there's something I noticed about his spawn that actually proved he cheated. Because take a look into the bottom left corner of the screen. You may think that because the runner got the achievement, his spawn has to be legit. But if you look closer, am I the only one who thinks this achievement was edited in? I mean, look, it's such low quality compared to the rest of the screen, and it's far bigger than a normal Minecraft achievement. And this incredibly suspicious and likely fake achievement leads me to believe that the runner cut his recording, where he built an entirely new nether portal and pretended to spawn there, so he could locate another fortress almost immediately. And he tried to cover his tracks by editing in a fake Minecraft achievement, but unfortunately, I've caught him in 4K. So, the runner quickly heads into the fortress, where this achievement looks a lot more realistic than a few moments ago. And after the runner loots a fortress chest, he starts to fight the blazes at the blaze spawner. But yet again, there's something incredibly suspicious happening as the runner is fighting these mobs. So try to catch it. Well, if you take a look at the weapon the runner is holding, it's clearly a wooden axe. However, despite this being the worst axe in all of Minecraft, the runner somehow manages to one-shot every single blaze. But how is this possible? A wooden axe only does 3.5 hearts of damage, while a blaze has 10 hearts, meaning it's clearly impossible to one-shot a blaze with a wooden axe. Well, when the speedrunner opens his inventory, he exposes himself big time. because as he hovers over this wooden axe, he accidentally reveals it's a netherite axe that the runner has somehow disguised using a wooden axe texture, which now explains how the runner could one-shot every single blaze. But I'm still confused on how he disguised this netherite axe as a wooden axe. Well, after destroying every single blaze with ease, the runner of course finds himself with 7 blaze rods, and he quickly leaves the fortress to begin searching for a bastion. But the speedrunner is about to expose one of the biggest secrets he's been hiding all run. Because do you remember earlier when the runner was opening this ender chest? And I was convinced that another player was secretly placing items inside to help the runner? Well, pause the footage at this frame. We're in the left corner of the screen. Oh my gosh. You can literally see another player who is standing right next to an ender chest. Meaning this player is the one who placed all the extra items for the runner and confirmed that my suspicion was correct. But hold on. This isn't the last time we're going to see this player in the speedrun. Well, the speedrun continues and the runner finally manages to locate a bastion where he quickly collects some gold ingots like any normal speedrunner would do. But as the runner is searching for some piglins to trade with, he comes across this wall that not only has a 3x3 square marked out with pink wool, but has a sign right next to it claiming this is the magical Minecraft wall. Okay, last time I checked, a magical Minecraft wall was not a part of a real bastion. So how in the world did it generate here? Well, the runner faces the magic wall where he gets the idea to whip out gold ingots. And somehow, he manages to throw the ingots straight through the magical wall. Wait a second, how in the world did these gold ingots just phase through blocks? It's literally impossible for any Minecraft item to have this ability. Well, just a few moments after the runner threw his gold straight through the wall, this happens. Oh my gosh. The magical Minecraft wall returns the favor and throws the runner some crazy Minecraft items, including ender pearls, golden apples, and obsidian. All very crucial items for a speedrun. And while I'm incredibly shocked by this insane amount of good items, wait 1 second. Do you remember when I told you that this other player who is helping the runner wasn't done with his cheating just yet? Well, let's run the footage to when the runner first entered the bastion and pause here, where we zoom in to the right corner of the screen, where we can literally see the exact same player who I just pointed out, who is conveniently holding blocks of pink wool, the exact same block that is used for the magical Minecraft wall, which makes it obvious that this other player is the one who built it. But I'm still shocked at how this wall even works. So, with more than enough loot in his inventory to continue the speedrun, he quickly built another portal and heads into the overworld. And after placing down a crafting table and collecting some Eyes of Ender, you're probably expecting the runner to use the process of triangulation to locate the strongholds. But that's not true, because to understand what happens next, we need to go back to earlier in the speedrun at the Woodland Mansion, where I told you to remember the runner finding these 2 items. First, a single brown candle, and secondly, a piece of redstone dust. Well, instead of using the Eyes of Ender for triangulation like I mentioned, the runner grabs these 2 items and places them in a crafting table, where he crafts the stronghold locator? Okay, wait a second. Has this speedrunner managed to create custom Minecraft items? Well, the runner grabs the stronghold locator from the crafting table, and when he swings it, oh my gosh, a line of red wool quite literally appears on the ground out of nowhere, that the speedrunner is obviously intrigued by and starts to follow. And after following this red line for about a minute, it leads the runner to this exact block, which the runner starts to dig down at and eventually falls straight into the stronghold. Meaning this stronghold locator literally summoned a path leading the runner straight to a stronghold. Well, the runner of course falls directly into the strongholds, where I can give him some credit for getting the achievement. But out of nowhere, the runner decides to type /seed in the chat, which displays the exact Minecraft seed the runner is playing on. And moments after, we get the message that a player has left the world, likely being the player that we've seen throughout the run. And less than 30 seconds later, the speedrunner follows a very direct path straight to the end portal room. But without using any technique like a real speedrunner would, how in the world did that just happen? Well, him typing /seed in the chat was clearly a part of how he cheated. Because after finding out the exact seed of the worlds, he gave it to his friend who we've seen throughout the run. And after the friend quit the game like we saw in the chat, he loaded into a brand new Minecraft world using this exact Minecraft seed, where he managed to locate the exact position of the end portal room. And after locating the coordinates, he found some way to tell them to the speedrunner, which now reveals how he was suddenly able to locate the end portal room. They need to be better at hiding their cheating. So, the runner locates the end portal room, where he quickly lights the portal and spawns into the end. And I guess I can give him credit for the dragon still being at full health, and the speedrunner not gaining any more overpowered items in his inventory. But that still doesn't mean that this ender dragon fight is going to be normal, because the runner heads to the surface and stares at the dragon, where he quickly turns around for a brief second. But when he turns back to face the dragon, oh my gosh. The ender dragon has quite literally been killed in thin air. And I'll replay the footage, which clearly shows that the speedrunner didn't touch the ender dragon at all. Click a video on screen now to watch even funnier fake Minecraft speedruns.